Hey everybody, welcome back to Living Traditions Homestead. Well, I'm going to be working on a project today and I thought I would bring you guys along. I've been wanting to make a new waterer and a new feeder for our chickens and our turkeys for the last couple of weeks. Just haven't really gotten around to it, but I'm finally going to be working on it today. Now, about 5 or 6 years ago, I did a video where I showed you guys how to make an automatic chicken feeder out of a garbage can that would hold about 150 pounds of feed. It used a plastic garbage can and some PVC elbows into the can that would then allow the chickens to eat while keeping all of the feed nice and dry. Well, I wanted to make something similar for the chickens and the turkeys, not out of a garbage can, but just out of a 5-gallon bucket. So I jumped online and I started to price out all the parts that I would need. And you guys, I was shocked when I found out that the PVC fittings, the elbows, and all of those pieces have gone up so much in price. Some of them were about $3.50 a piece, all the way up to about $7 a piece for the kind that I really wanted to use. And since I need 4 of them for each one of these feeders, I just thought that's a crazy amount of money to build a chicken feeder. So I jumped on Amazon and I started to look on there, and lo and behold, they now sell something that they didn't sell 5 years ago, which are these kits for making something very similar to what I used to make just out of PVC elbows. They're plastic fittings, and I was able to pick up this entire kit for about $24. In fact, I think the day that I bought them, there was actually a coupon, so it was more like $20. But I looked today and they were $24, and it's enough to make 2 feeders and 2 automatic waterers as well. So I thought I would bring you guys along as we put this together. I'm not sure how this is going to turn out because, that's like $5 per waterer and per feeder, and you just got to wonder what the quality is going to be like. Now, I'll tell you that these parts, they don't feel really, really well made, but they also don't feel super flimsy. They're not as strong and as thick as like PVC pipe would be, but they're not bendy or anything, so they actually feel pretty darn good. So let me show you all the parts that came with this kit, and then we'll start putting these together and take them over to the animals and see what they think. So the first thing that it came with is this part right here, which is kind of the most important part. This is the part that will actually go into the bucket to create the automatic feeder. So the chickens will be able to stick their head in through this part right here, and then they'll be able to eat from the feed inside of the bucket. It also came with some rubber gaskets that will go on here so that you can keep this out even in the rain, and it should keep the feed dry inside of the bucket. It also came with these little plugs that you can put in here overnight so that rats or mice, raccoons, whatever, can't get in there and eat all of the feed overnight. I'm not sure if I'll use those or not. We'll probably see if we have a problem first. The other nice thing about this kit is that it came with parts to make automatic waterers, these little watering cups. Now these are the same style that I used to use for my quail. These don't feel quite as well made maybe, so we'll see how they work. I've tried to set my expectations kind of according to what I paid for this entire kit, so we'll see if they work. I'm going to be very happy with it. The way that these work is they will also go into the bucket, probably somewhere around here, and then as you fill the bucket up with water, it will allow water into this little cup, and this little cup will fall down like that, and when it falls down, it shuts off the flow of water to the cup, and then as the chickens drink, this lets a little more water in and it falls back down, and it just always stays full on these little cups. So it came with the wing nuts to put those on. And then the other really nice thing about this kit, now let me tell you this, I'm in no way affiliated with this company. I literally went on Amazon, found the cheapest kit that I could find that kind of would work for what I wanted to do. So I'm in no way affiliated with this company, but there are some nice things about this. It came with the proper size drill bit for installing these automatic waterers, and it also came with a hole saw, a 3.5-inch hole saw for installing these as well. And so, I mean, hey, you get these that you get to keep even after you're done with this project. You end up with a nice 3.5-inch hole saw and an extra drill bit. So that's kind of a nice added bonus, I think. The instructions that came with it are, for the most part, pretty useless. This is all the instructions for the water and the feeder. Luckily, there's not a whole lot to it, so I'm not too worried about that. But you know, let's put this thing together and let's try them out, and we'll see if it was worth the $20 that I spent for all of this. Now, I did have to buy the buckets separately. I bought those at Walmart, but I was pleasantly surprised when I went to Walmart. The buckets have actually come down in price. The last time I bought buckets, they were $4 something a piece, and today they were $3 something a piece. So, hey, that's a win as well. All right, let's start assembling this. Let's put together the 2 feeders first, and then we'll put together the 2 waterers after that. All right, let's start with the first feeder here. I'm going to set aside 4 of these. Move the other ones out of the way for right now. Let's get all the parts that we need for just one of them to start with. All right, so the first thing that we need to figure out, and it doesn't really give you any tips in the instruction, is how high we want these off the bottom of the bucket. I would think that we want probably only about 2 or 3 inches at the bottom of the bucket. So I think we will want this to be probably somewhere around here. We can always set the bucket up on something. In fact, I plan on doing that so that it's a little up higher up off the ground for the chickens. But if we put this way up high, then they're never going to be able to get the feed down at the bottom of the bucket. So let's go ahead. A lot of this is just going to be guessing, and I'll let you know in a couple weeks if the chickens complain that we did it wrong. So I'm going to use this part, which is the kind of the inside part, just to kind of visualize where I think they should go. I think probably somewhere around here is good. I think somewhere about like that. I'm going to mark to the best that I can where the center of that is, and then I'll measure that so that we can put all 4 of these about the same height off the bottom. I think that will be good right there. Let me measure that so then we can mark all 4 of them to get them at the same height. So that's about 4 inches off the bottom of the bucket. So I'm going to go ahead and do the first one, and then we'll do the other 3 after that. Now, one thing that I have learned over time is when you're drilling holes in plastic buckets like this is don't push too hard. Let the tool do the work. Well, okay. Guess we need to tighten that on a little better. Let's. All right, we'll see. All right, so we won't push very hard. We'll let this actually cut the hole. If we push too hard, it's probably just going to crack the bucket. All right, well, that did a pretty good job. Let's put this first one in and see if we have our height right here. So we take one of these gaskets, and that will go on there, and that will help hopefully keep rain and things out. We'll put this on there like that. And then on the inside, this piece will just screw onto that. And it should make the bucket kind of fit to this flat surface here. You know, the bucket's round, but buckets are pretty flimsy. So looks like that worked pretty well. That seal looks pretty tight around there. You can see that I think that's about the perfect height off the bottom of the bucket. I don't know if you can see what that looks like inside the bucket. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to install the other 4. And I think this is going to be a really nice feeder, actually. Seems like it's going to be. Like I said, though, we will raise this up off the ground a little bit so the chickens and the turkeys can put their heads in there a little bit better. I'm not sure these are going to work for the turkeys once the turkeys get real big. We'll have to see. But if not, at least they'll work for the turkeys for now. All right, I'm going to put 1 over here and then, 2 on the other side so that we have 4 all the way around. And I think this is going to be a nice feeder. I'm going to make both of these up, and then we can start on making the waterer as well. All right, I've got both of the feeders put together. Try to get all these little plastic pieces off. I don't really want to rinse them out with water because we're going to be putting feed in, and I don't really want wet feed in there. So I think I got most of it out. So I think these are going to be pretty nice. They actually seem pretty sturdy once they're put together. I did find some covers for them. We'll try to, a couple of them are cracked. We'll use the cracked ones for the waterers because that doesn't really matter. They're also old and a little dirty, but that'll be okay. They're going to get dirty outside anyway. All right, so there we go. Those are our 2 feeders. Now let's get the 2 waterers done, and then we'll go fill everything up and put it out by the animals and see what they think of them. So we do want these fairly close to the bottom of the bucket, but we don't want them, but obviously they need to be high enough that they're not going to hit the ground. Although, like I said, we probably will put this up on something. I think what I'll do is I'll probably put this so that when this fills, it's pretty much even with the bottom of the bucket, or maybe just an inch or so off the ground. Now, the reason we want this as close to the bottom as we can is because obviously once the water level gets below this, then, that water isn't going to be used. So we could put this way up here, but then all of this water down here is going to be, wasted. So we do want this as close as we can get it to the bottom. So let's figure out this first one, and then we'll just make them all the same. I think that's probably pretty good right there. I don't mind if there's a little bit of water that gets left in the bucket, because honestly that keeps some weight in the bucket all the time, and it stops them from knocking the buckets around or from the buckets getting blown by the wind. So it's not bad. We do the same thing with the pigs, where we keep it a little bit off the bottom so that there's always some weight in the bucket. So I'm going to go right there. Let me measure that. Let's measure that one so we know where that is. That looks like about 3 1/4 inches. All right, let's drill that first hole with the drill bit they gave us. All right, let's put this first one on. Let's see, they also gave us these little wing nuts to put on the inside. These little plastic wing nuts. So we're gonna have to screw that in there a little bit. There we go. And there is a little rubber washer on the outside there, so that should help with any leaks as well. All right, let's put the wing nut on. Well, there we go. Like I said, these, the feeder parts, to me, those feel a little higher quality than these. So we'll see what happens with these. All right, so we'll mark all of our holes here at 3 1/4 inches. Well, both of the feeders and both of the waterers are done. I found lids for all of them. Dirty lids, but lids. And I think they're going to work out pretty well. Let's take them over. I'm going to go fill these 2 up with feed. One with some game bird grower for the turkeys, and one with just our regular chicken pellets for the American breasts. And then when we get over there, we'll fill these up with water as well. We'll see if they decide that they want to eat out of them right away, or we'll see what happens. All right. Well, this is where they're already used to eating, so I'm going to put them in the same spot. You can see right now we just feed them in these rubber pans. So I'm just going to use these rubber pans to hold these up off the ground. Hopefully it'll hold the one with the water in it. I think I'm going to leave that one there for now that has some water in it. And I might just dump the rest of their food here on the ground. I'll put this one here. If that's not strong enough, I'll find something else later, but it looks like it's going to be. If I notice that it's not, if it's leaking or something, I'll find something else to put these up on. But for now, I think this is going to be okay. I don't think they're going to come eat or drink out of it while I'm standing here. So let's take the other ones over to the turkeys, and then we'll just kind of keep an eye out to see if they come over here to start eating. All right, here's where the turkeys are in this hoop coop. I don't know if you guys can tell, but it is hot out right now. I think that's why the chickens weren't really too interested in eating. Last time I looked at the thermometer, which was about a half hour ago, it's 102, and it is humid out. So nobody really feels like eating right now. We'll see if the turkeys do. All right, let me set this stuff in, and I'll bring you guys along in with me. All right, so this is the feeder that the turkeys had currently, but you guys, they are making such a big mess. That's why I wanted to give them a different kind of feeder. I think that this will help them quite a bit to make less of a mess and waste less of their feed. We also had them just on a 1 gallon little waterer like this. So I'm going to leave that in here for now in case they don't figure out where the water is. But let's set this one. See, I think this is actually going to be better on this little thing here. I think that's going to be perfect. We'll put their food up here. We only have 3 turkeys, so I think these 4 feeders are going to be more than enough. And then I think the waterers are going to be perfect too. Like I said, hopefully they find it. Turkeys aren't always the smartest birds in the world, but I think they'll find these in here for sure. I'm hoping just another few days we're going to start letting them outside during the day too, but I just wanted to make sure they really acclimated to this hoop coop first. All right, let's move out of the way and see if they come explore. Well, I've been waiting around for about 5 minutes and they haven't really come to explore it a whole lot. I think with this heat, they're just reluctant to come do much right now. I've been watching for the chickens. They're kind of right on the other side, kind of behind the camera right now, and they haven't done anything either. They're just kind of nestled down during this hot part of the day. But you guys, I will keep you updated on how these are working out. I'll give you my gut reaction right now. I think that all in all, the feeders are really nice, and I think they're going to last a long time. The waterers, I think, aren't quite as nice as the feeders. I bet they'll make it through the rest of this summer. We definitely, obviously, can't use them over the winter, but I don't know if they'll make it beyond one season. But, you know, for $6, I think they're going to be just fine. And we won't have to replace the bucket probably next year, just replace the little cups. So maybe for $6 to make it through a summer, it might just be worth it. I will leave a link to the ones that I bought in our Amazon shop. Again, I'm not affiliated with the company, but I'll leave a link so you can see the ones that I bought. There are a lot of these on Amazon though, and to be honest, they all looked to me to be about the same quality. So I would base it really on what's the best price at the time. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed videos like this. It's always good to do some projects together. Be a little nicer if the weather wasn't quite so hot, but hey, that's part of this lifestyle. You can't stay inside all day. You got to work through the heat as well. If you're enjoying videos like this, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And as always, remember that the best way you can help us is just by sharing our videos. Until next time, thank you so much for stopping by a homestead. Take care, and God bless.